Welcome to Rum and Real Estate, episode 86. Today we're going to jump in the DeLorean and we're going to go on a time machine trip to the year 2018. And you might be asking, why are we doing that? Well, it's because I was clearing out my nightstand yesterday, and among the books and magazines that I had there, I found another Realtor magazine from July, August 2018. And I was flipping through it and I said, this would be kind of fun. It's about 3 years ago, and I want to just go through some of the things that we were talking about from a technology standpoint, from just the market standpoint, and even some of the politics of it. I have a couple things highlighted in here that I'm just going to kind of go through, maybe bring things that I didn't know, things that I need to poke fun at, but some of it is actually interesting to talk about because what we're experiencing today is not what they expected in 2018, especially, pre-COVID times. So I think we're going to have a little fun today. But first, we can't have a little fun without some rum. Today, we're going to be drinking Porteno 15 year. Now, last year I had the Porteno 8 year, and it did not, it made it onto the list of the top 5, but I've never had the 15 year. And the way that this rum goes, it is a Colombian rum, and I can't get it outside of the state of Florida. So when my dad went to Florida, I said, go to ABC Liquors and go buy everything you got. And he was able to find 5 bottles for me, so we're going to give it a shot today. Ooh, smells just like the other one, a little more refined. I loved the 8 year. The 8 year was good, but also I wanted to show this. We are drinking with Lego brick glass. I was able to find at Legoland, I found a ice mold that is Lego bricks. So it's what we had, and so that's what we're doing. All right, Porteno, Colombian rum, 15 year. Oh, it smells great. Oh, it's so smooth. So smooth. I wish I could say go find you some, but like I said, if you find yourself in Florida, go pick some up. You can't find it here. I even asked Alex over at Hokus Pokus Liquors, and he can't even get it through his distribution channels. So maybe it's a tease, but I'm going to say if you find yourself in Florida and you can get this, I would highly recommend it. It is absolutely worth the purchase price. It is definitely worth what you pay for it. Maybe just a little bit more, just because it's the 15 year. It's a little smoother than the 8. So with that, we're going to talk about 2018. Let's see what was going on. What we were talking about in 2018 in the real estate world. The first article is called Prepping for the Future. And I wrote down some notes here because it made me laugh, because the history of the Realtor Association is spotty at best in its success in various elements. I might be one of the few that will poke fun at it, even though I pay dues to be a part of it. This thing was talking about the rapid transformation in the real estate industry when it comes to technology. And so it says here that the technology group was created to focus on engaging world-class innovators and keeping the National Association of Realtors ahead of industry disruption. They are not good at staying ahead of industry disruption. And it's 3 years later, and they're still not good at it. And the major reason why I said that they're not good at it is because they've never been ahead of it, because this is the reason why Zillow exists in the first place. Is because they were, for the longest time, Realtor.com was the only major website to go look for housing. And the website was terrible. And in my opinion, they sat on their laurels as the only, because they had access to the multiple listing service. They're the only ones that had the listings. Well, here comes Zillow. They come up with a new business plan. They come up with new marketing strategy. And boom, Zillow is the place everyone goes to with all of their inaccurate data. But because they had a plan, because they used Zillow as a business and not just as an just kind of this afterthought as being part of the Association of Realtors, Zillow took over. And NAR has been playing catch up ever since. And although I don't like Zillow at all, so I got part 2 coming up about my issues with Zillow coming up in the next few weeks. The idea that NAR says they want to keep ahead of industry disruptors is kind of laughable. And 3 years later, from this article, they really haven't changed much since then. So, it has an article about websites and privacy issues, but the one that that inspired this episode was an article called "Where Are the Buyers?" If you've been paying attention to real estate at all, even if you're not looking, right now we have no shortage of buyers. We have a shortage of homes, and it's a massive shortage of homes. And some of the information in this article is just the juxtaposition of 2018 to today is hilarious. But I do have some issues with what they suggest are the things that we need to do to help buyers create more opportunities for buyers to get them, into the market. So at the time in 2018, employment was very strong, and at the time that it says 5 million net new jobs over the past 2 years. And unemployment rate was down to 3.8%. Boy, I wish we could get that unemployment rate back again. And the stock market was just heading to the high mark. Now, it's blown past the all-time high mark ever since then. But it says at this point in 2018 that home sales were down 1% from this time last year, and home buyer sentiment is tepid. And they ask, what is the difference? If you have all these great economic data, why aren't home buyers buying homes? It says, and this is what made me laugh, for many potential buyers, homes are just too expensive. And that's why more building is critical. They thought homes were expensive then and thought that new construction was going to be the way to get homes to be more affordable. Have y'all seen lumber prices lately? I can't blame them. This was 2018. But the homes weren't too expensive. The homes were not too expensive in 2018. In fact, there was a little bit of a lull. But after this article, I remember in 2018, there was a moment where from like September to November, everything just stopped. Nobody was buying anything, and no one was putting their house for sale. And anybody who did, there was just no one to buy them. And it wasn't had anything to do with being too expensive. I think it was, I think that's just what happened. Sometimes you get, the market had been overheating for so long. I mean, it was on a run for 5 straight years from 2013 to 2018. So you're going to get, fatigue at some point. It said some goals to consider pursuing with local authorities to get buyers in the market. Streamlining the housing permit process. I agree with that. Reducing impact fees on new homes. I don't agree with that. Reducing minimum lot sizes. Definitely don't agree with that. And expediting local environment reviews. I agree with that. Now, for the sake of this episode, I'm not going to go into why I agree or disagree with each of these things. This is going to actually give me some ways to talk about these items and why I think they're good and not good from a planning and zoning standpoint to help get homes built at a more affordable cost. Just that article, it was just hilarious. Is that this 3 years ago they were asking where are the buyers, and right now it's like where are the sellers? That's what we need. And for the record, if in case you're wondering, the interest rates in 2018 were 4.5% at the national average. 4.5% today sounds like the moon is falling or the sky is falling. Like you couldn't get someone to agree to 4.5% right now and get excited about it. So these low mortgage rates, if you are thinking about buying, go now. If you haven't done it, refinanced. Do it now. I think in one of these articles actually says that that the refinances were slow at that time. All right. Another point in here, if you want to get a little controversial, is called the pain and promise of a law. And it's called the recommitment to ending bias. And that's the bias of fair housing, fair housing being the vehicle and the mindset to eliminate discrimination in homes. I didn't know this. I highlighted it, and my mouth actually dropped. And this is just what it used to say. One passage from the Realtor Code of Ethics added in 1924 and not repealed until 1974. Right, so it was added in 1924, repealed in 1974. It actually said this, and it's appalling. Realtors should never be instrumental in introducing into a neighborhood members of any race or nationality or any individuals whose presence will clearly be detrimental to property values in that neighborhood. Oh my God. And when I said earlier that the National Association of Realtors has kind of a spotty past, that is a black mark. I did not know that. And the article goes on how since then, they have gone through a lot of they have renounced this, obviously. It's just that the fact that was part of the deal in 1924 to 1974 is appalling. And I actually could not believe that this was in there. Well, there's a lot of stuff in this. Apparently, I never read this magazine. It was on my nightstand, and I never read it because I would have remembered that last time if I had read it. Let's see, what else do they have in here? I had a couple of, they have an article on autonomous cars and how autonomous cars will upend how you work and where your customers want to live. 2018 autonomous cars were a big deal. A lot of companies were really working on their projects, and putting this in a realtor magazine is kind of felt like a way to shoehorn some information here. We are light years away from autonomous cars being to the point where they're going to affect where people work and live, especially realtors. But one of the things I did look up, it says the first stages of change are underway. By the end of this year, 2018, Waymo plans to launch the world's first commercial ride-sharing service in the Phoenix metro area using entirely driverless vehicles. So I checked the internet, and that actually never happened in 2018. It happened last October. On October 8th, 2020 is when they officially launched their driverless vehicle commercial ride-sharing service. They had been working with it up through that time. They've had driverless systems and a plan and cars on the road. But just as a note, in the 20 months prior to that, the driverless cars had 18 accidents within 20 months. Which, I guess if you have 6.1 million miles logged and you only have 18 accidents in 20 months, pretty good. Let's see. Another article was called What's Popping Up in Backyards? Accessory Dwelling Units. Going back to the shortage of, in that time, they were calling it a shortage of homes. So that's one of the reasons buyers didn't want to get in the market. This article talked about building out like apartments and stuff on your own property, just putting another unit. People have been doing that forever. But in this one, it just made me laugh because the article that the person they were interviewing was calling it a granny flat because they had built a little 640 square foot home in the back, and they let the grandmother live in the backyard. And then the article goes on to how to build one to add value to your house. This is nothing major here that hasn't changed since then. I would say if you're going to build something in your backyard, like a small building, if it's not like a machine shop, but if you want to make like a little apartment, just make sure it looks like the home and the property that you're on and everything that's around it, because that's going to help improve your value, because you'll be able to sell not just a house, but you have a second, residence or dwelling on your property. In these days, it would be good Airbnb. What else do they have here? I think there was one more thing in this from 2019 other than a bunch of ads. No, that's it. That was it. That was our trip to 2018 through the Realtor magazine. I hope you found it a little entertaining. Just that thing with the buyers, just it's funny. We don't need to know we're not looking for buyers right now. We're looking for sellers. So if you or someone you love is looking to sell their home or is considered selling their home, make sure you have them give me a call because we need listings. We have buyers. We have multiple buyers for the same home. So thank you for joining me on Rum and Real Estate today. We have had Porteno 15-year. I would say it is it is 7 years better than the Porteno 8-year. Highly recommend it. Again, you can only find it in Florida. So if you get it, find yourself in Florida, pick up a bottle, and while you're at it, pick me one up too. Thanks a lot. Have a great evening.